not even joking.
Cecily Strong from Saturday Night Live is here. Hi, Cecily.
Hi.
You said that so sexy.
Thank you.
It was very sultry.
We were just talking about how we saw each other the other night at the
Yes.
Ben de la Creme Jinx Monsoon stage show.
So much fun.
But yeah, we were saying you love a comedy queen.
I do.
You're a big drag fan.
Yes.
Have you been? How long have you been into drag culture? I guess.
Gosh, it's tough to say. I guess my first experience. So I always talk about I grew up in Chicago or outside of Chicago, I should say.
Oak Brook.
Oak Park, please.
Sorry.
No, the Rich Mall was in Oak Brook. Frank Lloyd Wright was Oak Park. But there was, I did my first professional show, professional theater, production. We really took aim at the Catholic Church. I was 11. It was a gorgeous show. Won the Jeff Award in Chicago. Anyway,
Wait, it was like a local theater, like a regional theater?
Non-equity.
Non-equity, okay.
Well, there were two. We had, those theaters that like you have to give 2 equity contracts. But it was a gorgeous, wonderful theater. It was my first gig. I loved everyone there. I wound up spending a lot of time there. But there was a show at the same time that I was doing this show, Pope Joan, and it was called Bitches. And it was sort of about that Texas cheerleading mom.
The Holly Hunter movie.
Yes. Or was it? Was it Kathleen Turner, Serial Mom? Right?
Oh, Serial Mom. I don't know. Well, there was Holly Hunter did the Texas cheerleading murdering mom. It was like a true story of like a cheerleader mom who murdered her daughter's competition.
So Bitches was it was an all male cast, and it was all high school cheerleaders, and it was sort of that story.
Wait,
and I saw it like 4 times and was blown away.
And they were drag queens. They were.
I don't even know. Like I was 11, so I can't remember, and it was the year was 1972, so I can't.
Carter wasn't president, but he was thinking about it.
Oh my God!
I was pushing him. So I can't even remember if it was like full queens or just.
Yeah.
They put on some mascara.
Yeah. And maybe not even wet. But it was. I just loved it so much, and was like, I enjoy this.
Because you do have I mean, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you have there's a queer sensibility that comes with a lot of your comedy. Yeah. Especially on SNL.
Yeah. I think so.
I mean, you even got to do the Erika Jayne character.
Right.
Which is nuts.
Incredible.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, Erika Jayne.
I can go now. That's what I came here for.
Erika Jayne is such like a hero.
Why don't you explain?
I mean, if you don't know who Erika Jayne is, you don't belong listening to this podcast. But she is on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. She's the, the 0 fucks, none, one. I don't know how to describe Erika Jayne.
I just know
she
that
taught us how to put on latex bodysuits. You need powder.
Wait, so her deal is she's a Caucasian woman married to a very old rich man.
Aaron Brockovich lawyer guy.
Mean?
Yeah. I think so.
He's supposed to be mean, yeah. He was mean on the show.
And so she... I only looked this up after your character because I was like, is this based on something?
Love her.
So her deal is that she basically bought her way into being a quote-unquote pop star, but she doesn't chart?
No.
Okay.
I think I think she did not buy her. I think a lot of them did. And I will say she didn't. She worked hard. And I interviewed her once.
For what?
I don't even know. I just said yes.
Oh my God.
Let me. Of course I'll
my God.
Friend?
It was one of those things that our PR lady was like, this is a pass, right? And I was like, are you insane? No, it is not a pass.
It's a go.
Yeah, that's a hard yes. And I think she works really hard.
Yeah.
And she came, like, she worked really hard at it. I think she's really good.
And does her music, is it popular? I sound like I don't watch that Housewives.
It's queer popular. I mean, and Housewives, I think, is really, and I mean, sort of what you do even on SNL is really indicative of sort of the moment right now where there is this cross between, women and gay culture kind of run the internet, run memes, run sort of how we freak out about things. And I think what sort of you do on SNL is it really speaks to the women who love pop culture and love geeking out on the internet and love Pinterest even and like BravoCon and all of that, and then the gay people, queer people in general, who are just like find the inspiration, as we always have, in women like Erika Jayne, who are fabulous for reasons we don't know, but we're there for the show. You know, it's she's everything.
And I enjoy it when it's someone who's not awful.
Yes. Yeah.
There's enough villains.
But also that character, what's the character's name? Because I'm blanking.
On Candice.
Candice.
Yeah.
So it's like the sketch is already like, it's already wild and so queer to begin with because of that. But then you have Larry David speaking lines
enjoyed it
that are
so
so
much more
gay, but he's not gay. It's a mindfuck.
The joy that he felt.
It's so funny.
Saying those lines was gay. Like, that was so infectious.
Baby, we need to get going. I need to get to my gig.
Oh, look at the time. Yeah, we gotta go. We gotta go now if we wanna be at Power Bottoms for her. 3:30 a.m. performance.
Okay, but we do have a meeting at 6 a.m.
We got that 6 a.m. meeting, right?
And did you write that alone or wrote that?
Oh God, no! I wrote it with James and Julio, of course.
James Anderson, Julio Torres.
Never write. I never write. What's the song? What is it?
I'll never walk
Sound
alone.
of Music?
No, but I was doing a hilarious parody. And I was like, never write alone. I usually write with James Anderson and Kent Sublette, and I'll write a lot. Every now and then, when Julio was there, I would try to snag him when I could, and Bowen. Yeah. And that was, I think, James and Julio and I.
It does feel like you have a pipeline to this. Yeah, that's right. This like queer and straight woman cross section. Yeah, that's referential. That's a little bit periphery. But you have to you get in on it, and the moment you get on it, even the one that we were talking about the other day, Diana Gellerman.
Oh yeah.
So this is.
I think she was just Diane.
Diane, excuse me. I've been watching too much The Good Wife, the Good Fight with Diane Lockhart. But I'm so into it. Christine Baranski.
I love Christine Baranski. Yeah. She's an inspiration forever.
So this
From
character,
Sybil.
Diane.
Sybil.
Oh my God, Sybil.
Nice work. Get it?
Did you get it?
Won't you tell me how?
Oh my God.
Oh boy. She won an Emmy for that the first season. Sybil Shepherd was pissed.
For that theme song forever.
Yep.
Oh my God.
That was such a great show. And Sybil Shepherd wore her Emmys dress the first year of the show when she was nominated, and the second year of the show. Same dress.
What do you mean?
Same dress. Oh, she was like, no one's going to dress me. I'm wearing the same dress.
Why wouldn't anybody dress her?
Who wouldn't dress Sybil
She's
Shepherd?
probably difficult, guys.
Oh.
I mean,
I
beautiful.
hope she is.
Oh my God. Anyway, my point being that the character Diane Gellerman is basically Barbara Streisand, I would say.
A little, yes. I mean, she started there, and then we just wrote cabaret.
It's amazing.
Banter.
It's nuts.
In 5 minutes, and I was like, "Ooh, should I be worried how fast this came?"
Well, even
these lines,
like that, it feels just effortless, and it feels like an extension of you as a person. Like it's just so your taste, your comedic taste.
Yes.
And I don't want to put the words in your mouth, but it feels so queer inspired, and I'm wondering, has it always been that way? Have you always gravitated toward that sort of pseudo camp gay humor?
For sure. Yeah. Well, I think there's just it hasn't been that it's that it's gay. I think that it's just. I think there is something about theater and making fun of yourself, and I think growing up and feeling a little bit like an alien, and not quite fitting in. That I think has always been why I've had the friends that I've had, and just sort of been and I think that's where it's just kind of been a natural fit. And it's been more that it's these are my people. Anybody in that, it's not just whenever anyone's so you love all you'll love him, he's gay. And I'm like, no, don't say that. I don't love all gays.
Right.
Of course not.
Right.
That's crazy.
Me either.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Wait, so when you talk about sort of being younger and like feeling like an alien or like not fitting in, what do you mean?
I mean, so I think like so my first best friend in preschool was this girl, Anna, from South Korea. And she didn't speak English. And she...
So you did all the talking?
Yeah, but it was like someone that I was like, finally, like we get each other. We have to use gestures. You brought me gum again. How kind of you. Yeah. Why would you bring me a gift? What have I done that's made you like me? It's touched my heart. And then I had there was a girl, Johanna I had a lot of like foreign friends.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Growing up, I had a friend who's like lost to me forever, but in high school, her name was Megu. She lived with me for 2 years. She was from Tokyo. She was half Japanese, half Bangladeshi. Hardly spoke English. We communicated mainly through her translator.
Oh, she lived in your home?
She lived in my home.
Oh my God.
I invited her. I was like, could just come live with me. I loved her, but it was just like I just didn't ever feel like. I was always like, I felt like an old queen smoking cigarettes, holding a mean chihuahua.
Yeah.
I think that vibe resonates in a way because like I have to admit, like before sort of, looking more into your work, but also just like meeting you and even just the other night when you were going to Ben and Jink's show, like there's a thing that a lot of, I think, straight women often do where it's like tokenizing the queer experience, and especially in entertainment, sort of taking a queer narrative and using it for like the sake of becoming more funny or like more popular or whatever. And you really just genuinely get it.
You kind of live it.
You live it.
Yeah.
And like even just seeing you at Ben and Jink's show, I was like, oh, it's the real deal. She gets it. Like she's coming to a show that there's no like red carpet or anything. It's just like, this is just a fun show to go to. A drag show.
And I think like I would never say I get something that I haven't lived through. It's more that I would rather say I support things that I love. And I guess also I will say about drag, after feeling so beaten down in 2016, I think it was like, especially being like, I don't feel like I have a community as a white woman because I was like, there's no sisterhood. There's no, I don't feel that as a thing.
Because they voted for Trump?
Yeah. And it was just like, that's not for me. I don't think that exists. I think all people can be bad. given enough privilege, we all would have that. And so it was sort of like, I just want to be a person that lifts up the team, my people that I care about, and drag is such like a world of celebrating beauty and fun and things that sparkle and things that and strength, and it was just like all the values that I really admire, and it was just like I just want to go live there for a while.
Yeah.
And I think that's when it really became and to be embraced by a community that didn't have to embrace me as a woman, as a white straight woman.
Yeah.
There's a clip of
literally after 2016, after the election, I started watching way more YouTube murder documentaries. Like, for some reason,
Brent's
that was like
drag race for
isn't
Brent.
it so?
Oh, that's my. I mean, I'm true crime
Are
queen.
you?
That's my other.
Oh, we have to talk about some things then.
What's
your show? What's your show?
Anything.
But are you like,
the
oh my
ID
God, there's a
channel.
forensic file, like top 20 episode
No,
marathon?
don't care about forensic file.
Okay.
It's more like the ID channel. I mean,
ID
My
addict.
neighbor, the
I'm an
neighbor
addict.
killer one.
yeah. ID channel sent me a swag bag.
What was in it?
So
Sorry
jealous.
to brag. There was a thing called the ex-boyfriend. I think that's a knife holder with knives. I got a
They sent you
blanket.
knives?
It's incredible that this network that some
Bless
people don't
them.
even know about. It's a network exclusively with murder documentaries, and they have started marketing shit that you can buy, that you watch with that you consume. They have a wine club.
I'm here for it.
And it's literally like the network, the interstitials will be like a dead woman in a parking lot. They're like, you're watching ID. And you're like, is this really? Is this real?
Yeah.
And then, and all the ads
But
are
everyone
for
loves it.
catheters.
Yeah,
And,
right.
and I always am like, And I'll tell my friends, I'll go, okay, this one is very scary. Your worst nightmare is very scary. Forbidden Love is a lot of honor killings. So that one's very sad. There was a recent one that I went, this one's good. It makes you think. It's a lot of...
Deadly Women is a classic.
Of
that's a
course.
good one.
And that's got that bitch. I
Candice
love
DeLong.
her.
Hold on.
She hates women, and I
Wait.
love her.
Oh,
I have news for you. Brent Sullivan, who's sitting next to you, for his birthday, his friend, and Alan and I got to witness this,
Yes.
his friend, Megan, one of his
friend
best
of the
friends,
podcast,
Megan,
yeah.
created
Our friends, collective friends.
an entire escape room in her home. I mean, it was outrageously
get to the
well
good part,
done.
get to the good part.
And she got a cameo of what's her name?
Candice DeLong.
For him.
For
him.
for me.
For his birthday.
She was a killer and cold-blooded.
Wait,
Candice
you say this
DeLong.
woman?
So Candice DeLong is like a talking head on a show called Deadly Women.
She was an FBI profiler.
She was a very successful FBI profiler. I believe she helped take down the Unabomber, University of Michigan alumni.
I don't know about
the
that.
Unabomber.
My friend Jim Clemente, former FBI profiler, also helped take down the Unabomber.
Right. I think it's a team. I think there's teams.
We
at the
bonded that
FBI.
John Benet.
But Candice is like classic on this show because she has all of these lines that are just so ridiculous and like
And she's
like,
so thin.
you know, like you'll hear about a woman who murders her husband and she goes, the only thing on that dinner table was murder, you know, that kind of shit, like just dumb lines.
Nothing was going to stop her.
Right,
And
right.
it's like she's just dripping with hate of women.
She does.
And normally that would bother me, but I love it from Candice DeLong.
She's like a calm Nancy Grace.
I was honored to have her at a part of my birthday party.
Wild.
That's a gorgeous birthday
an
party.
That is a
Incredible.
really great. It was a great birthday.
Well
party.
done, Megan.
I gave him an Outback Steakhouse gift card. Didn't even
I
matter.
used it the next day.
Didn't
by
even
the way.
matter.
I used it the
Well,
next
it's
day.
so it matters.
Yeah.
I said to Megan, if anybody did half of this for me, I could literally die happy. Has murder affected you in your real personal lives? Like actual murder or homicide or any of these terrifying, scary things
I have a
that keep me from
cousin
watching?
who was in prison for murder.
Oh, wow.
This big brag.
But it was like
I know.
It was a drug.
Resume.
It was the same cousin who said he was trying to endear himself to me because he's like straight and he was like he knows I'm gay, so he was like whatever. And
So he
was in prison. He was in prison for a really long time, and he was saying he was like, you know, I used to have to suck a lot of dick when I wanted meth. So like, I think I know. I
get it, man.
I get it.
Wow.
He went to prison
That's
for
really
like 20
funny.
years for like murdering someone in like a drug thing.
Oh,
It was like a
admitted,
drug.
yeah.
Yeah, and it was so sort of, but that's not why I like true crime.
And also, and I don't think that it's the murder part of the true crime that I like. I enjoy it when someone doesn't die on these shows as well. And I also think there's something nice about seeing something gets solved.
Justice.
Justice,
Yeah.
especially right now where everything feels like there's no consequences.
The worst
Yeah.
people keep winning.
Exactly.
Well, there's also the element of like, I think true crime people are actually some of like the nicest people because I think the appeal is trying to figure out what would bring someone to do that.
Right.
Like it's trying to figure out why someone would even murder in the first place. Like, it's not like you're obsessing over the actual murder. You're obsessing over what brought on the murder.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we obsess over the murder.
You think
In fact,
so?
one of my big pet peeves with true crime is that we pretend we don't all want the salacious details. And you'll be listening to these podcasts, and the host will always have this moment where he's like, so just so you know, I'm so sorry to have to share this. I spend sleepless nights thinking of this every night, but her throat was ripped open, and then he tells you like the most graphic, like the Black Dahlia is a great example of that, where the Black Dahlia, I listened to this podcast about the Black Dahlia.
Oh, send
They
it to
give
me.
this
I've been looking for
They
something.
give this disclaimer about, I'm so sorry to have to share these morbid details, and then the Black Dahlia is the worst
Yeah,
crime.
it's really
And you're like,
bad.
but the reality is, that's why we tune in. Let's not pretend
Hold
like
on.
that's what we don't want to
I will say,
hear.
and I'm not even lying. I don't love all. I had to not listen to one that said that I was like, that detail was so disturbing. I don't want this show anymore. And it was sort of like, and I don't want to ever see a dead body. I don't want to ever.
Yeah.
It's more like, I go, who done it?
Yeah.
Let me hear the details
my
and
angle,
see if
too.
I can solve it. It's sort of like, it's not real in my head. And then it's
like
some
Clue.
of them make me, and it's like, I will cry. I will be sad. And I do like the ones that go, oh, this is so ethically ambiguous.
Yeah.
Like there was one about, the fraternity that was hazing, but with water and a fan. And it was the best friend of the guy who was, and there are just things that I'm like, this makes me feel terrible. I love it. This is devastating. I feel very awful, and I'm having a crisis right now, and that's what I enjoy.
The whodunit thing is like, there's a podcast called Crime Junkie that Michael and I, my boyfriend Michael, we are obsessed with. We've gone through it's been on for years, but we've listened to every episode in like a month. And it does that. It sort of feeds that idea of like, as you're listening, you're trying to figure out who did this or how did this happen. And it's just, you get obsessed with trying to figure it out, Like, like there was one about a girl who just randomly went missing, and she's still missing, but nobody knows how. And there's video of like her walking around. No one knows how.
Yeah.
See, for me, I could
Disappeared
listen
on
to
ID.
mafia stuff endlessly.
Really?
Oh, I love mafia stuff too.
Because to me, that feels more. Oh, I don't know. I would feel less like creeped out by it because it's the world they have created, developed, and exist in their, in that echo chamber of like eye for an eye, like real like cause and effect and rules.
Sure.
Whereas I think true crime stuff and even just talking about like motives and stuff, it's like it still feels so I don't know, ethereal is if that's the right word. Like it all kind of like exists, and then murder happens, and it freaks me out.
Can I talk about a theory of mine that I think is actually somewhat insightful?
Please.
I think one of the best ways to notice the discrepancies in how we treat white people and black people in this country is to look at the way we talk about the mafia versus the way we talk about gangs.
Oh my God,
that's so true.
Brent.
And I'll always remember watching these shows on A&E back in the day when A&E was like Bill Curtis. And it was like police would talk about mafiosos with this bizarre deference. These monsters who've killed a dozen people apiece, and the police officers or detectives who are pursuing these cases will still talk about how he's a family man and all this
they
shit.
have a hard on for him.
And
with gangs,
but you never find that with gangs, and largely it's the same. It's give or take a few details, they're largely the same organizations.
it's so perfect and spot on, and it reminds me how much I love the movie
Brent.
Dangerous Minds. I
Sure.
love Dangerous
It's a
Minds
classic
so
one.
much.
It's a
Michelle
classic.
Pfeiffer.
Well, and
I mean,
this-
it's absurd now.
And
But
thank God for The Wire.
yes,
Right.
Do you have any? Are there any? What? I wanted to ask like who your comedy heroes are at SNL or beyond. But does Michelle Pfeiffer and Dangerous Minds fit into that list?
Actually, this came up the other day. What I do bring up a lot is the moment in Grease 2.
My old boss is in that movie, Danny Jaworski.
Danny Jaworski. That's the moment I bring up.
Oh, is it?
No. It's when she's sort of, right before the Dream Ballet. But I always go, whenever anyone looks like they're zoning out, I go, Stephanie? Stephanie? Stephanie. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
I'm so glad you do. No one ever does, and I'm always like, it's
My old boss
barely
made us
worth
watch
it.
that movie. Made us watch that movie.
Is Michelle Pfeiffer Stephanie? Or?
Yeah, and Michelle Pfeiffer goes like this.
Yeah.
And
It
they
was
all
like
go,
her first movie.
Stephanie? Stephanie. And the camera comes in and she's like that. Stephanie.
What's she thinking about?
She goes into a dream ballet.
Oh my God.
God, Danny Jaworski.
Oh.
That's like such a trigger for me. Wow. Yeah, so who are your comedy
Yeah, who
heroes
are your-
besides Michelle Pfeiffer?
As Stephanie in that moment.
Yeah.
Well, I got to meet Catherine O'Hara, which was huge.
yeah,
and like,
That's big.
So great.
it was so big. I met her this summer, and it was so intimidating that I saw her out of the corner of my eye and kind of ran past her. And then Andrew Rannells, of all people, came up and said, Catherine would like to meet you. And I was like, oh, very good. Good, great. And went over. But she was kind of as awkward as I am.
Yeah.
And so that was nice. But I have a lot of comedy heroes. Everyone that's been on the show. I think like my big I loved Strangers with Candy.
Yes.
Amy Sedaris, obviously. I used to watch that with my friend Graham Costic. Did you said you knew? There's always I feel like a lot of people knew. He and I used to watch that show together on my landline phone. I would stretch the cord.
Oh, and you would watch it together in different homes.
In different yes, we would watch Strangers with Candy. I loved all of the Christopher Guest movies. I really loved, memorized all of those. I loved Wayne's World. Was a big, I had.
Tia Carrera.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part, the funniest part of that movie.
I just watched Best in
You
Show
make me
again
laugh.
recently.
Yeah,
it was so good.
It's so good.
Best in Show and her in that, Catherine. I mean, it's,
Oh my God.
it is such a perfect film.
Yeah.
She's really perfect.
It's so funny. I mean, all those movies are so funny. And then weirdly enough, I also was so into Bottle Rocket.
Oh, interesting.
And saw it.
What's Bottle Rocket?
Oh,
It's
Owen
a Bill
Wilson.
Murray.
No. What? This was the one before Bill Murray.
Oh, he
This
wasn't in that.
No, this was just Owen Wilson and Luke Wilson.
And the
never seen
Coppola guy. What's the
no,
actor's
no, was it? This
Jason
this was
Schwartzman?
their first one.
Oh,
This
wait.
is the Coen brothers, right?
Wait, guys,
No.
you are.
No.
This is a disaster.
No, they did Royal Tenenbaums. What's the director's name?
So it was their. It was Wes Anderson.
Yes, Wes Anderson.
And Owen Wilson. And I think Owen Wilson is so funny in it. And I saw it so many times. And
Yeah.
it was it felt like that mixed with Strangers with Candy mixed with, I also liked I bought before DVDs came out or was a thing in college, I bought somehow online from some weird website, I bought DVRs
Yes.
or whatever DV
Mini
the compact
DVs.
disc?
Divx?
maybe is that
Yeah.
what they were?
don't
Someone
know.
had recorded every episode of Strangers with
Mini
Candy.
DV. The small.
No, they were regular sized, but you had to watch them on your computer, I think. Or maybe you could watch them in a DVD player.
Interesting.
Again, this was 1969.
Bootleg CD-ROMs.
Yeah.
I had that with Mama's Family.
Did you really,
Really?
like
I
Mama's
bought
Family?
someone had VHS recorded in the late 90s every episode of Mama's Family, and you couldn't get it anywhere.
Yeah.
And so I bought on eBay or something, early days of eBay or whatever it was then.
I think it was eBay.
Yeah, Mama's Family on a bootleg VHS.
Oh my God. Also, before you go, I'm just curious, what are your parents like? What is your family like? Because you grew up in Chicago, outside of Chicago, doing regional theater, but also you were into musicals, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Musical theater as well.
So a normal, not broken family.
Because you've talked about your mom
Yes.
a little bit to me.
So I'm a child of divorce, obviously. Yeah, we gotta be. You got to. There's a lot of varying degrees of mental illness in my family, and I love them very much. So it's all endearing mental illness, like they all are. My mom is a nurse. My parents split up when I was in 5th grade, and my mom had just went back to school. She was in PR, and she went back to school and decided to become a nurse for the money. And my dad does PR, and he's very loud, like I am. He's got a very loud laugh. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard. It's we have a much better. What female comedian is like? Have a great relationship with my dad growing up, but we were best friends as a child, and then had a rough patch, and now we're in a pretty good place, I would say again. And he texts me after every show, and it's my favorite thing on Saturday nights.
Oh, that's
It's
sweet.
adorable.
Do you have any siblings?
I do. I have an older brother, and then I have a younger stepsister and an older stepbrother. And one
Fun.
nephew, Jack, and they all live in Hudson, and they don't have a TV.
Wow.
Well, they don't all live. My older stepbrother and his wife Sarah, they're very cool and artsy, and they have great taste.
I
Cool.
think divorced kids. I mean, my family also.
And I divorced my parents, like Macaulay Culkin.
No, but I think I've noticed that with a lot of divorce, especially people who are in entertainment now, when after their parents divorced, they kind of got super creative. And I went into theater, and I was after my parents divorced, and became sort of the showy one in the family. In a weird way, I think to keep everyone together, maybe. I don't know why I did it, but I see that with a lot of kids of divorce, especially comedians of divorce, you know?
And I feel like the people at that theater really took care. It was like during that period of time, and I feel like they definitely raised me a bit. And they were all in their early 20s, a lot of it. So they were still young, but I felt very like, these are the people that raised me, which is probably the other reason I'm like, oh, I grew up raised as a gay boy, you know, because I had all these gay fathers.
What's your favorite? You have a favorite musical?
Say Cats the movie. Say Cats the movie.
The new Cats the movie. It's tough to say. So my like very first that my grandma showed me, I think was like the ones I had on VHS growing up. Oliver.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I was very into South Pacific. I had such a crush on Lieutenant Joe Cable. I wanted to be that little mute girl, that beautiful mute Asian girl. But I was a Bloody Mary. I loved. But I think I love Gypsy.
Oh my God, Gypsy.
Love it.
Oh, Patti LuPone in Gypsy on Broadway is like probably the best thing I've ever seen in my life. It's just incredible. And I know you guys would hate it. We would love it.
I don't know it.
Yes.
But
I'm not a big theater person.
I just tried to show a group of people Gypsy, and I was like, you're going to love this. And then I was like, oh, no one is loving
the movie?
this.
Did you try to show them the movie with Rosalind Russell?
Yes, and I think it's so funny.
I think it's so good, but it's such like a weird understatement of what the musical live is. So like if you ever saw the musical live and then you see the film, you're like, why is this a weird, moody drama? I don't understand the difference.
And I'm like, I think it's every scene.
A comedy.
It's hilarious.
I have a question that might divide us. Did you see Come From Away?
Oh, God.
No, we've talked about it, but I never saw it.
I would suggest you don't.
So you didn't love it.
Brent and I.
They're biased, though.
No, we're
They
not.
hate musicals.
No, we don't.
Elliot introduced this musical to me because he said it's basically a musical about
9/11
layovers.
the musical. Layovers
Right,
at
right,
9/11.
9/11. It's a story about 9/11, but it's the least interesting story about 9/11. And we went to go see it last year, and we absolutely hated it. And
sounds like
everyone
an Enya
in
song.
the world
Does it beat Mark
loves
Wahlberg's?
What's his musical?
He has a musical?
No, I meant a story about 9/11.
Oh God! No! Oh my God! Oh my God!
Anyway,
Cecily,
thank you.
Yeah, I don't even know where to
On that
start or
note.
end. Thank you so much for being
can't.
here. We adore
I'm
you.
DMing you so much about murder. I can't.
Please do.